I had just retired when my daughter-in-law called. "I'm going to leave my 3 kids with you. After all, you don't do anything anymore, so you can watch them while I travel." I smiled and ended the call. I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. When she returned from her trip, the children hid behind me. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, as the phone still trembled in my hand, I made the most important decision of my 67 years. I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. But let me tell you from the beginning, because what happened when she returned from her trip, when the children hid behind me, the silence that followed was deafening. That was just the end of a story that began much earlier. My name is Helen Miller. 35 years of teaching at Lincoln Elementary in Columbus, Ohio, had prepared me to deal with difficult children, complicated parents, and impossible situations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared me for Brooke. That afternoon, I was sitting in my living room, enjoying my second day of retirement. Do you know what it's like to work since you were 22 years old and finally, at 67, have time for yourself? I had waited for this moment my entire life. My coffee table was covered in brochures. Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon, a road trip down the Pacific Coast Highway. Places I had always dreamed of seeing but never could because first, it was raising Michael alone after his father died in that pileup on the interstate, and then it was years of sacrifice to give him an education. The phone rang at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I saw Brooke's name on the screen and hesitated to answer. Whenever she called, it was to ask for something. "Helen," she began without even a hello. She never called me mother-in-law, much less mom. "I have an incredible opportunity in Miami. It's a multi-level marketing conference that's going to change our lives." Multi-level marketing. Another one of her pyramid schemes where she always lost money. "The kids can't miss 2 weeks of school," she continued, "so I'll leave them with you." "I'm sorry?" My voice came out as a whisper. "Oh, don't play deaf. I said I'm going to leave Aiden, Chloe, and Leo with you. After all, you don't do anything anymore. You can watch them while I travel. It's perfect. Now that you're not working, you have all the time in the world." I don't do anything anymore? I felt my blood boil. This woman, who had never worked an honest day in her life, who lived off my son like a parasite, was telling me that I did nothing. "Brooke, I have plans." "Plans?" She laughed with that sharp laugh I detested. "What plans can a retired old woman have? Knitting? Watching soap operas? Please, Helen, don't be ridiculous. I'll drop them off tomorrow at 7 in the morning. And don't give them junk food like last time." The last time? The last time I saw my grandchildren was 6 months ago, at Christmas, and only for 2 hours because, according to her, they had to go to their other grandparents' house, the important ones, the ones with money. "I'm not going to watch them for you, Brooke." "What do you mean, you're not? You're their grandmother. It's your obligation." Besides, Michael agrees. Ali. My son didn't even know about this. I was sure of it. He worked 14 hours a day at the manufacturing plant to support this woman's whims. "If you ever want to see your grandchildren again, you'd better cooperate," she threatened, "because I decide if they have a grandmother or not." And that's when something inside me broke. Or rather, something inside me woke up. If you knew me, you'd know that Mrs. Miller never stayed silent in the face of injustice. And this woman had just declared war. "All right, Brooke," I said with the sweetest voice I could feign. "Bring them over tomorrow." "That's more like it. And don't spoil them. You know they're difficult children, but that's because you never knew how to raise Michael properly. If he had had a decent mother." I ended the call before she could finish the sentence. I sat there, looking at the framed retirement certificate on the wall. 35 years shaping generations, and my own daughter-in-law treated me like a free servant. But if I learned anything in all these years, it's that the best lessons aren't taught with words. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. "Carol?" "Yes, it's Helen. I need your help. Do you remember what you told me about the hidden recorders you used in your divorce?" "Uh-huh. Perfect. And one more thing. Is your sister still working at Child Protective Services?" "Excellent." I hung up and poured myself a chamomile tea. Tomorrow, the real education would begin, but it wouldn't be for the children. Brooke was about to learn the most important lesson of her life. Never ever underestimate a retired teacher with free time and a desire for justice, If you're enjoying this story and want to keep discovering how a determined grandmother can change the destiny of an entire family, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any detail of what's to come. Because believe me, this is just the beginning. That night, I couldn't sleep. As I tossed and turned in bed, the memories of 35 years hit me like waves against the rocks. How did we get here? How did I allow my own family to treat me like an old piece of furniture, only useful when they needed it? It all started when Michael was just 3 years old. His father, my Richard, left one rainy October morning heading out on a business trip. The car was part of a 50-vehicle pileup in a blizzard on I-80. 23 people died. Richard was passenger number 24, but he survived for 3 days in the hospital. 3 days in which I spent our savings of 5 years trying to save him. "Take care of our son," were his last words. "Make him a good man." And boy, did I try. I was left with $100 in the bank account, a 3-year-old boy, and a teaching degree from the state university. The first few years were a hell I wouldn't wish on anyone. I worked double shifts, morning at the public elementary school, afternoons tutoring. Michael ate before I did. If there was money for a pair of shoes, they were for him. If there was enough left for a toy on his birthday, I pretended I wasn't hungry that night. My mother, God rest her soul, would tell me, "Helen, you're going to kill yourself working like this. Find another husband, someone who can provide for you." But I would look at my Michael, with those brown eyes just like his father's, and I knew no stepfather would ever love him like I did. No strange man was going to give him the love I could. So I kept going, alone. The sacrifices were endless. I remember one Christmas when Michael was 8. I had saved for 6 months to buy him the bicycle he wanted so badly. On the 24th, while he was sleeping, I realized I didn't have money for Christmas dinner. I sold my only piece of jewelry that wasn't my wedding ring, a locket from my grandmother, for $50 so I could make a turkey with all the trimmings. Michael never knew. To him, his mother was invincible. His mother could do anything. And that's how it had to be. When he got to high school, the expenses multiplied. Books, clothes, bus fare, supplies. I was still working my double shifts, but now I also sold pies at the church bake sale on Sundays. My hands, look at my wrinkled, stained hands, with joints swollen from kneading dough at 4 in the morning. But it was all worth it when Michael got into Ohio State University, industrial engineering. I was bursting with pride. My son, the son of the widow Miller, the one who grew up without a father, was going to be an engineer. It was in his junior year that Brooke appeared. "Mom, I want you to meet someone special," he told me one Sunday after church. There she was, in her pastel pink dress, her perfect smile, her shiny black hair falling in waves over her shoulders. She looked like a porcelain doll. She hugged me with a warmth that completely disarmed me. "Oh, Mrs. Miller, Michael has told me so much about you. I admire you so much. Raising such a wonderful son all by yourself. You're my hero." How could I not fall into her trap? I, who had spent 20 years without a sincere hug that wasn't from my son, suddenly had this pretty young girl calling me a hero. The first few years were good, I won't lie. Brooke would come to the house, help me cook, tell me about her humble family from a small town in West Virginia. Her father was a coal miner, her mother a waitress. That's why I understand you so much, Mrs. Miller. You and I know what it's like to struggle. Lies. It was all lies, but I was so happy to see Michael in love that I didn't want to see the signs. They got married when Michael graduated. I paid for half the wedding with my retirement savings. "It's an investment in my son's happiness," I justified to myself. Brooke cried with emotion, or so I thought then. Now I know she was crying because she expected a more lavish wedding. The change was gradual, like poison administered in small doses. First came the subtle comments. "Oh, Helen, what a shame Michael didn't have a father figure. You can see it in his lack of ambition. If you had saved better, Michael could have gone to a private university. No offense, but your pies are very simple. I make them with more ingredients, more gourmet." Each comment was a small stab, but I endured them. For Michael. Always for Michael. When Aiden, my first grandson, was born, I thought things would get better. I rushed to the hospital with the blanket I had knitted for 9 months. Brooke looked at it and set it aside. Thanks. But we already have everything from Nordstrom. This, well, we can donate it. Nordstrom. While I was still buying my clothes at Goodwill to save for my son's future, she was shopping at Nordstrom with Michael's salary. Then came Chloe and Leo. With each grandchild, I drifted further away. Brooke had 1,000 excuses. The children needed a routine. I would spoil them. My house wasn't safe for children. My parenting ideas were old-fashioned. You just don't understand, Helen, she told me once. Kids today need early stimulation. English classes, swimming, robotics. Not just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches like Michael grew up on. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? My son grew up with love, with values, with the certainty that he was cherished. But Brooke had started her campaign to push me away. And Michael? Michael was too tired from working to notice. The hardest blow came 2 years ago. It was Chloe's 5th birthday. I had saved for 3 months to buy her the dollhouse she had seen at the mall. I arrived at their house with the wrapped gift and my best dress. The party was in the backyard. There was a bouncy castle, clowns, even a princess show. And I was not on the guest list. "Oh, Helen, what a shame," Brooke said at the door, not letting me in. "It's just a party for her friends from school and their parents. You understand, they're different people. We wouldn't want you to feel uncomfortable." Uncomfortable? The birthday girl's grandmother was going to make the different people uncomfortable? I saw Michael in the background, playing with the kids. He didn't look up. He knew I was there and did nothing. I left with my dollhouse and cried all the way home. That night, I donated it to the orphanage. At least there it would be appreciated. And now, after all this, after years of humiliation and contempt, Brooke wanted me to be her free babysitter, as if all the pain she caused could be erased with a snap of her fingers when she needed me. But what Brooke didn't know is that Mrs. Miller had learned a lot more than math and English in 35 years. I had learned child psychology, studied dysfunctional families, seen hundreds of cases of narcissistic mothers who use their children as weapons. And above all, I had learned to wait for the perfect moment to act. I looked at the clock, 3 in the morning. In 4 hours, Brooke would knock on my door with 3 children who barely knew me. 3 children who had been trained to see me as the poor grandmother, the boring grandmother, the grandmother who wasn't worth their time. I smiled in the darkness. If there was one thing I knew how to do after all these years, it was transform children. And these 3 were about to discover who their grandmother Helen really was. At 7 o'clock sharp in the morning, the doorbell rang. Not 7:05 or 7 to 10. Brooke was always punctual when it suited her. I opened the door, and there they were. 3 children with sour faces and suitcases bigger than them. I don't have time to chat. Brooke didn't even cross the threshold. Aiden is allergic to dust. Chloe won't eat anything with green vegetables. And Leo needs his iPad to fall asleep. Their medicines are in the blue suitcase. I'll be back in 2 weeks. And Michael? Isn't he coming to say goodbye to his children? Michael is working, as always. Someone has to support this family. She looked me up and down. Not all of us are lucky enough to retire with a government pension. My pension, $1,500 a month after 35 years of service. Brooke spent more than that on her nails and eyelash extensions. The children entered, dragging their feet. Aiden, 12 years old, with his phone glued to his face. Chloe, 10, with a permanent look of disgust. And Leo, 7, already looking for the television. "Be good for your grandmother," Brooke said without any conviction. Then she leaned in close to me and whispered, "And don't you dare fill their heads with ideas. Remember that I decide if they ever see you again." She left without saying goodbye to her children. Not a kiss, not a hug. Just the sound of her heels clicking away and the engine of her brand new SUV. I stood there with 3 children who looked at me as if I were the enemy. And then I remembered all the moments when Brooke had built this wall between us. Like that time 3 years ago when I wanted to give Michael $500 for a down payment on a used car. Brooke intercepted the money. "Oh, Helen, it's better if we use it for the kids' school tuition. Education comes first, don't you think? I never saw a receipt for that tuition." A month later, Brooke appeared with a Louis Vuitton handbag. "A friend gave it to me," she said when I asked. A friend? Right. Or when my sister Linda died and left me $5,000 in her will. I told Michael excitedly, thinking I could finally fix the roof of my house that leaked every time it rained. Brooke found out. Helen, Michael and I are in a tough spot. The company I was working for went bankrupt, another one of her failed multi-level marketing ventures, and we urgently need that money. We'll pay you back with interest. Interest? It's been 2 years and I haven't seen a single dollar. My roof still leaks, and now I have to put out buckets every time it rains. But Brooke's trip to Cancun with her friends last year, that she could afford. Grandma, where's the Wi-Fi? Aiden jolted me out of my thoughts. I need the Wi-Fi now. The modem is broken, I lied. I had unplugged it on purpose. What? No way. Mom! Mom! He started screaming as if he were being tortured. Your mom is gone, Aiden. And screaming isn't going to bring the internet back. You're the worst grandmother in the world. That's why nobody likes you. There it was. Brooke's poison coming out of my grandson's mouth. It didn't hurt. I was prepared. I'm hungry, Chloe interrupted. But I'm not going to eat anything you cook. Mom says you're a terrible cook and that's why Dad is so skinny. And I want to watch YouTube, Leo added. At home, I watch YouTube all day. I looked at the three of them. Perfect products of neglect disguised as modern parenting. Children who knew no limits, who didn't understand respect, who had been programmed to despise me. But then I remembered the exact moment Brooke crossed the final line. It was last Christmas. I had prepared my specialty, a holiday turkey with stuffing that my mother taught me, green bean casserole and cranberry sauce. I had cooked for 2 days. I arrived at their house with the pans still warm. The kids ran to the kitchen, drawn by the smell. Don't touch that, Brooke yelled. We don't know under what conditions your grandmother prepared it. We'd better order pizza. Pizza? On Christmas Eve? I watched as she threw my food in the trash without even trying it. The children looked at me with pity, as if I were a beggar who had brought leftovers. Grandma's food is too greasy, Brooke explained to them. And her kitchen has cockroaches. A lie. My kitchen is cleaner than an operating room. But Michael was there, watching it all, and he only said, Brooke knows what's best for the kids. That night I decided that my son was lost. But my grandchildren might still have a chance. Grandma, do something. We're bored. Aiden threw a cushion on the floor. You know what? I told them calmly. Your mother asked me to take care of you, not to entertain you. There's food in the kitchen, water in the tap, and beds to sleep in. If you need anything else, you'll have to earn it. Earn it? Chloe looked offended. We're kids. We don't have to earn anything. In this house, everyone contributes. That's how I was raised. That's how I raised your father before your mother ruined him. And that's how these 2 weeks are going to work. I'm going to tell my mom you're mean, Leo threatened. Go ahead. And while you're at it, tell her I found her Facebook page very interesting. Especially the photos from Puerto Vallarta last month when she was supposedly at a training seminar. The children fell silent. They didn't understand what I was talking about, but they sensed that their grandmother was not the same person anymore. That first night was hell. Aiden kicked his bedroom door. Chloe cried for hours demanding her special food. Leo wet the bed on purpose. They wanted to break me, just like their mother had tried to break me for years. But that's when I made the discovery that would change everything. At 2 a.m, I heard sobs from Chloe's room. These weren't tantrums, they were real tears. I entered silently and found her hugging a crumpled photo. What do you have there, my girl? She startled and hid the photo under her pillow. Nothing. Go away. But I had seen enough. It was a picture of me with her when she was a baby. One of the few times I was allowed to hold her before Brooke began her campaign of alienation. Do you miss your mom? I asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. No, she answered quickly. Too quickly. Mom always leaves. She's used to it. I'm used to it. There it was. The first crack in the armor. Brooke hadn't just abandoned me. She had abandoned her own children, using money and gifts as a substitute for love. Chloe, how often does your mom go on trips? I don't know. Once a month, sometimes more. She always says it's for work, but nothing. I'm not supposed to talk about it. Mom says family problems stay in the family. Family problems stay in the family. The golden rule of abusers. Silence. I got up and walked to the door. Before leaving, I turned back. Chloe, would you like to learn how to make the pecan cookies you used to love when you were little? Her eyes lit up for a second before they dimmed again. Mom says your kitchen is dirty. Your mom says a lot of things. Why don't you find out for yourself tomorrow? I closed the door, leaving Chloe with her thoughts. The first seed had been planted. What I didn't know then was that Aiden's phone, the one he couldn't use without Wi-Fi, held messages that would reveal Brooke's darkest secret. Messages that would explain why she had really gone to Miami. And when I discovered them, I understood that I wasn't just saving my grandchildren. I was saving my entire family from a woman who was far more dangerous than I had ever imagined. The second day dawned differently. I already had my plan in motion. At 6 a.m, before the children woke up, Carol arrived with a shoebox. "Here's everything you asked for," she whispered, handing me the package. 3 recorders, the size of a button, a camera that looks like a smoke detector, and this? She pulled out a manila envelope. "The credit reports you requested. Helen, your daughter-in-law has debts of $30,000, all in Michael's name." My heart sank. My poor son had no idea. "And your sister from Child Protective Services? She's coming tomorrow at 3, as a casual, routine visit." "But Helen, you need concrete evidence if you want to do something legal." Evidence. That was exactly what I was going to get. When the children woke up, breakfast was on the table. Pancakes shaped like animals, fruit cut into stars, chocolate milk, not the horrible food their mother had told them I made. Aiden was the first to come down, still in his wrinkled pajamas. He stopped short when he saw the table. "What's this?" "Breakfast. Eat before it gets cold." He sat down suspiciously, took a bite, and for the first time, I saw something resembling a smile, but he immediately composed himself. "It's okay. I've had better." Chloe and Leo came down, drawn by the smell. Leo launched himself directly at the pancakes. "They're delicious, Grandma." "Shut up, stupid." Chloe elbowed him. "We're not supposed to." She trailed off. "You're not supposed to what, Chloe?" "Nothing." After breakfast, I laid out my rules. If you want Wi-Fi, television, or any privileges, you have to earn them. Aiden, your job is to wash the dishes. Chloe, make the beds. Leo, pick up the toys. "That's child labor," Aiden shouted. "No, my boy. Child labor is what I see on your mother's phone." I took out my phone and showed a screenshot of Brooke's Facebook page. "Look, here's your mom in Miami, on the beach, with a man who is not your father." The 3 children gathered to see. In the photo, Brooke was in a bikini, hugging a man who was definitely not Michael. The hashtag read, #NewLife, #FinallyFree. "That's Uncle Dominic," Leo said innocently. "Mom's friend who sometimes comes over when Dad is at work." Aiden quickly covered his mouth, but it was too late. The second piece of the puzzle had just fallen into place. "Uncle Dominic?" I asked casually. "How often does Uncle Dominic come over?" "We're not supposed to talk about that." Aiden looked at me in a panic. "Mom said if we told anyone about Uncle Dominic, Dad would get very sad and could die of sadness." My God. The level of manipulation was worse than I thought. "Kids, your dad isn't going to die of sadness. Adults don't work like that. But I need you to tell me the truth about everything. It's important." "Why?" Chloe crossed her arms. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I love you. And when you love someone, you protect them. And right now, you need protection." It was Leo who broke first. The youngest, the most innocent, the one who wasn't completely contaminated yet. "Grandma, why does Mom say you're mean if you make such yummy pancakes?" "I don't know, sweetheart. What else does your mom say about me?" "She says you're poor and embarrassing. That's why we can't visit you. She says your house smells bad and that you're a bitter old woman who ruined Dad's life." Every word was a stab, but I kept my composure. I discreetly installed the first recorder under the dining room table. "And what do you think?" "Your house smells like cinnamon and coffee," Chloe said in a low voice. "It smells like home." That afternoon, while the kids were doing their assigned chores protesting, but doing them, I checked Aiden's phone. I had forgotten that kids these days save everything to the cloud. With a little patience, I accessed his Google account. What I found chilled my blood. WhatsApp conversations between Brooke and this Dominic. They weren't just lovers. They were planning something much worse. "I have almost everything ready," Brooke wrote. Michael signed the papers without reading, as always. "The house is already in my name." "And the brats?" Dominic replied. "I'll leave them with the old woman as soon as he gives me the divorce. Besides, Michael works so much he barely sees them. He won't be able to ask for custody. But we need more money to move to Miami for good. The old woman has a house. It's worth at least $200,000. When she dies, Michael inherits, and as his wife, half is mine. Or was mine. We'll see how we can get all of it." I kept reading. Brooke had taken out 3 credit cards in Michael's name. She had sold the car that was in his name and told him it had been stolen. She had even tried to take out a loan using my house as collateral but needed my signature. That's why the monthly trips. They weren't for work. They were to meet Dominic in different cities. They had been to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, all paid for with the money Michael was killing himself to earn. I took pictures of everything, every message, every photo, every piece of evidence. My friend Carol was right. I needed to document everything. That night, during dinner, I decided to test the children. "What would you like to do tomorrow?" "Go home," Aiden answered automatically. "To which house? Your dad's house or Uncle Dominic's house?" Chloe's fork clattered onto her plate. I don't know what you're talking about." "Chloe, sweetheart, I know it's hard, but I need you to tell me the truth. Does Uncle Dominic live with you?" "No." "Well, sometimes, when Dad travels for work, he stays to take care of us." "In the guest room?" Leo let out a nervous giggle. "No, Grandma. He sleeps in Mom and Dad's room, and he doesn't let us in. And they make weird noises." Aiden stood up from the table, furious. "Shut up, Leo! Mom said not to say anything. And what else did your mom tell you not to say?" It was then that Chloe broke. The tears started falling like a waterfall. "That Dad is boring. That Uncle Dominic is more fun. That soon we're going to have a new house with a pool. That we're not going to be poor like Dad anymore. That we're not going to end up like you, Grandma, living in an old, ugly house." I hugged her. For the first time in years, my granddaughter allowed me to hug her. And she cried. She cried like the 10-year-old girl she was, not like the little robot Brooke had tried to create. "Grandma," Aiden whispered, and for the first time there was no hostility in his voice. "Does Dad know?" "No, my love. Your dad doesn't know anything. Are you going to tell him?" "I'm going to do something better. I'm going to make sure you are all okay, that your dad is okay, and that your mom, well, that your mom gets exactly what she deserves." That night, after putting the children to bed and for the first time, none of them protested, I called Michael. "Hi, Mom. How are the kids? Brooke told me you offered to watch them." "Offered." The liar had twisted everything. "They're fine, son. Hey, could you come over tomorrow after work? There's something with the house I need to discuss with you." "Is it urgent?" Brooke asked me not to bother her on her work trip. "It's about a leak in the roof. It could affect the structure." It wasn't a total lie. There was a leak, but it wasn't in the roof. "Okay, Mom. I'll be there around 7. I hung up and looked at the calendar. 12 days until Brooke returned. 12 days to dismantle 10 years of lies, manipulation, and psychological abuse. But now I had something I didn't have before. 3 children who were starting to see the truth, and the truth, as they say, always comes out. Tomorrow the psychologist would come. Michael would see the proof. And the house of cards that Brooke had built would begin to crumble. The war was just beginning. But for the first time in years, I had all the weapons to win it. The 3rd day began with an explosion. Literally. Leo had found the fireworks I kept for the 4th of July and decided to light one inside the house. At 5 in the morning. "Grandma, the house is on fire!" Chloe screamed. I ran with the fire extinguisher that, thank God, I always keep in the kitchen. The firework had scorched the dining room curtain and filled the whole place with smoke. Leo was standing in the middle of the chaos, laughing. "It's fun. Like on YouTube." "Fun? You could have burned the house down, Leo." "So what? It's an ugly house anyway. Mom said that when you die, she's going to sell it and buy us a better one. There it was. The pure venom of Brooke coming from the mouth of my 7-year-old grandson. But this time, it didn't hurt me. It gave me fuel. You know what, Leo? You're right, it's an old house. Do you know why? Because in this house, I raised your father by myself after your grandfather died. In this house, I sewed school clothes until 3 in the morning to pay for his education. In this ugly kitchen, I prepared 1,000 lunches with love so your dad would never go to school on an empty stomach. The boy stopped laughing. And if your mother thinks she's going to get this house, she is very mistaken. Because yesterday, I changed my will. I'm leaving everything to a foundation for orphaned children. Children who would actually appreciate having a roof over their heads. You can't do that, shouted Aiden, who had run downstairs. That house is our inheritance. Inheritance? You who never visit me, who despise me, who treat me like a servant, want an inheritance? Mom says it's our right. I took out my phone and played the recording I had made the day before of their conversation at dinner. Their own voices filled the room. Dad is boring. Uncle Dominic is more fun. We're not going to be poor like Dad anymore. The three of them stood there, petrified. You recorded our conversation? Chloe was pale. I recorded everything, my girl. Every word, every confession. Because when your mother comes back and tries to turn everything against me, I'm going to have proof. It was then that Aiden exploded. And it wasn't pretty. You're a meddling old hag. That's why Dad never visits you. That's why Mom hates you. You're a bitter woman who can't stand to see anyone happy. He started throwing things. The vase my mother gave me. The picture frames on the shelf. My retirement diploma. All while screaming obscenities that no 12-year-old boy should know. I hate you. I hate you. I wish you were dead. Chloe joined the chaos. She went to the kitchen and started throwing plates on the floor. If you don't give us Wi-Fi right now, we're going to destroy your whole house. Leo, not wanting to be left out, grabbed my photo albums and started tearing the pages. Photos of my wedding, of Michael as a baby, of my parents who are no longer here, pieces of my history flying through the air like macabre confetti. I stood in the middle of the hurricane, calm, observing. The hidden camera that Carol had installed was recording everything. After 20 minutes of destruction, the three of them were exhausted, panting amidst the rubble of my living room. Are you finished? I asked calmly. They looked at each other, confused by my lack of reaction. Now you're going to clean everything up. Every broken piece, every destroyed photo. And while you do it, you're going to think about this. Your mother left you here because she doesn't love you. If she loved you, she wouldn't have gone to Miami with Uncle Dominic. If she loved you, she wouldn't use you as weapons against your father. If she loved you, she wouldn't teach you to hate the only person who truly cares about you. You don't care about us, Aiden shouted. Oh, no? Who do you think convinced your father not to sell the house when he lost his job 3 years ago? Who lent him money to pay your tuition when Brooke spent the money on her trips? Who has been saving money for your college education since you were born? I pulled out 3 savings passbooks from the drawer, one in each of their names. Aiden, $4,500. Chloe, $3,800. Leo, $2,500. Every month, from my $1,500 pension, I save $100 for each of you. Since I can't see you, at least I can secure your future. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to the bank to close these accounts. I'm going to give that money to children who actually value the efforts of others. Aiden grabbed his passbook with trembling hands. $4,500? For me? It was for you. Not anymore. It was Chloe who broke first. Grandma, we didn't know. You didn't know? Or you didn't want to know? It's easier to believe your mother's lies than to think for yourselves, isn't it? At that moment, the doorbell rang. It was Lauren, Carol's sister, from Child Protective Services. Good morning, Mrs. Miller. I'm here about a call we received regarding possible child neglect. The children turned white. Please, come in. As you can see, the children have just had an episode. Lauren observed the destruction, took out her camera, and started taking pictures. Did the children do this? Mom says it's their way of expressing themselves, Leo murmured. Your mother encourages them to destroy other people's property? Mom says Grandma is old and it doesn't matter what she thinks, Chloe replied. Lauren took notes. And where is your mother now? In Miami. On a work trip, Aiden said automatically. Work? I took out my phone and showed Brooke's Facebook page. A new photo. Her and Dominic toasting on a yacht. Lots of work, as you can see. Lauren reviewed the photos, the conversations I had printed, the bank statements with the debts. Her expression grew more and more serious. Children, I need to speak with each of you separately. While Lauren interviewed the children, I picked up the pieces of my broken photos. Each fragment was a memory, but they no longer hurt me, because now I understood that I wasn't losing the past. I was reclaiming the future. An hour later, Lauren came out of the room where she had been with Aiden. Mrs. Miller, these children are suffering from severe emotional neglect. The psychological manipulation is evident. The oldest is on the verge of depression. The girl has chronic anxiety, and the little one, well, the little one is acting out what he sees. What can I do? For now, document everything. When the father comes, I need to speak with him, and when the mother returns, well, I'm going to have to open a formal investigation. After Lauren left, I found the 3 children sitting on the stairs. They no longer looked like the little tyrants who had arrived. They looked like what they really were, scared and abandoned children. Are they going to take us away from our parents? Leo asked with a trembling voice. I sat with them on the stairs. No, my love. No one is going to separate you from your father, but things are going to change. It's going to hurt. Change always hurts. But sometimes it's necessary. Grandma, Aiden wouldn't look me in the eye. About Uncle Dominic. Dad is going to die of sadness if he finds out. No, my boy. Your father is stronger than you think. And he deserves to know the truth. We all deserve the truth. That afternoon, while they cleaned up the mess they had made, this time without protest, I heard Chloe whisper to Aiden, what if Grandma is right? What if Mom really doesn't love us? Shut up, Aiden replied, but his voice no longer had conviction. Mom has to love us. She's our mom. But even he was doubting now. The armor of lies was beginning to crack. That night, after dinner in silence, Leo approached me with something in his hands. It was a torn photo that he had tried to tape back together. The photo of his father on his graduation day. I'm sorry, Grandma. I tried to fix it. I hugged him. For the first time since he arrived, my youngest grandson hugged me back. We can fix a lot of things, Leo, but first, we have to accept that they're broken. And in a few hours, when Michael arrived, the real reconstruction would begin. Stone by stone, truth by truth, until nothing was left of Brooke's castle of lies. Michael arrived at 7:15. He came straight from work, his engineer's uniform stained with grease and his eyes sunken with exhaustion. When I saw him at the door, for a moment I saw the 8-year-old boy who used to cry because the other kids made fun of his patched-up shoes. Hi, Mom. Where are the kids? Doing homework in the dining room. Michael, sit down. We need to talk. Is it about the leak? Can I check it quickly? It's not the leak in the roof, son. It's the leak in your marriage. He froze. What are you talking about? I placed a folder on the table. Inside were the screenshots of Brooke's conversations with Dominic, the statements from the credit cards she had opened in his name, the Facebook photos of her work trip in Miami. Michael took the papers with trembling hands. With each page he turned, his face lost more color. This has to be a mistake. Brooke is at a sales conference. Michael, my love, Brooke is in Miami with her lover. The children know. They've known for months. The children? His voice broke. The Uncle Dominic who comes to take care of them when you travel. The one who sleeps in your bed. The one your children have had to endure in silence because their mother threatened them that you would die of sadness if you found out. I saw the exact moment my son broke. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sank into the chair as if someone had cut the strings holding him up. I'm an idiot, he whispered. A complete idiot. No, son. You're a man who trusted the wrong person. But now you have to be strong. For your children. Dad? Aiden was at the door. He had heard everything. Michael looked up. And for the first time in years, he really looked at his son, not at the spoiled child Brooke had created, but at the scared teenager who desperately needed his father. Aiden, son, I. We already knew, Dad. We've known for a long time. Chloe and Leo appeared behind their brother. The three of them stood at the door as if they were afraid to get closer. Come here. Michael opened his arms. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I saw my grandchildren run to hug their father. The four of them cried together while I made coffee. Sometimes, tears are the first step to healing. That night, after Michael took the children to bed early, I was left alone planning the next phase. Brooke had underestimated the retired teacher, but now the teacher was going to give her a lesson she would never forget. The following days were intense. Michael took a vacation, the first in 3 years, and practically moved into my house with the children. Together, we implemented what I called the Respect Project. First, schedules. Wake up at 7, breakfast at 8. Educational activities, lunch, free time earned with good behavior, dinner, and bed at 9. But at home, we go to sleep whenever we want, Chloe protested the first day. That's why you are the way you are, I replied. The brain needs routine to feel safe. Second, responsibilities. Each child had age-appropriate chores. Aiden helped with the garden, Chloe in the kitchen, Leo organized the games. This is exploitation, Aiden muttered as he trimmed the plants. No, this is family, Michael corrected him. In a family, everyone contributes. Third, real consequences. If they didn't comply, there was no Wi-Fi. If they shouted, time out. If they broke something, they fixed it or paid for it with their allowance. But most importantly, family sessions with the psychologist Carol had recommended. Dr. Wallace came to the house 3 times a week. These children have been used as pawns in a sick game, she told me after the 3rd session. The mother has conditioned them to reject any authority other than her own, but paradoxically, she herself is absent. It's a classic case of parental alienation combined with emotional neglect. Can it be reversed? With time, patience, and a lot of love. But yes, it can. And little by little, it started to work. On the 5th day, Chloe asked me to teach her how to make pecan cookies. As we kneaded the dough, she started talking. Grandma, why does Mom hate you so much? She doesn't hate me, my girl. She fears me. Fears you? Why? Because I represent everything she is not. I worked my whole life, built something with my hands, raised a son with values. She wants everything easy, fast, without effort. And when someone like me exists, it reminds her that she chose the wrong path. Is Mom a bad person? I considered my answer. Your mom is lost. She made wrong decisions, and now she's so deep in her lies that she doesn't know how to get out. But that doesn't justify the harm she has done to you. On the 7th day, Aiden approached me while I was sewing Leo's shirt. Grandma, can I ask you something? Of course, my boy. Why did you never defend yourself? All these years, when Mom spoke badly of you, why did you never say anything? Because I thought keeping the peace was more important than being right. It was a mistake. Sometimes, silence isn't peace. It's complicity with abuse. Do you regret it? I regret not acting sooner, but I don't regret acting now. On the 8th day, something extraordinary happened. Leo, my youngest grandson, the most damaged by the neglect, brought me a drawing. It was our family, Michael, the 3 children, and me in the center. Brooke was not in it. And your mom? I asked gently. Mom is on a trip, he replied. She's always on a trip. But you're always here. That night, Michael and I had a conversation we should have had years ago. Mom, I'm so sorry. I failed you as a son. No, Michael. I failed you as a mother. I should have taught you to recognize the signs. I should have protected you better. How did I not see what was happening? Because love blinds us, son. And because manipulators are experts at making us doubt our own perception. What am I going to do when she comes back? That's what we're preparing for. I have a plan. And I did have a plan. With Carol's help, I had contacted a lawyer specializing in divorces with parental alienation. With Lauren from Child Protective Services, we had a complete file. With Dr. Wallace, we had psychological evaluations of the children. On the 9th day, The children did something that left me speechless. They organized a dinner for their dad and me. They cooked with supervision, set the table, and even made a centerpiece with flowers from the garden. "It's to say thank you," Aiden explained, with no trace of the hostile boy who had arrived. "Thank you for not giving up on us." During dinner, Michael took out his phone. "Brooke sent me a message. She says she'll be here in 5 days and hopes the kids are ready." "Ready for what?" Chloe asked. Michael looked at me. It was time to tell them. "Kids, when your mother comes back, things are going to change a lot. Dad is going to file for divorce." I expected tears, protest, drama. Instead, Leo asked, "Are we still going to be able to come to Grandma's?" "You're going to live with me," Michael said, "and you'll see your grandma every day if you want." "And Mom?" Aiden tried to sound indifferent, but I saw the pain in his eyes. "Your mom will have to make decisions. But no matter what happens, you are going to be okay. I promise you." That night, as I tucked Leo in, he told me, "Grandma, you know what? I don't miss the iPad anymore." It was a small miracle, but big changes always start with small miracles. There were 5 days left until Brooke's return. 5 days to finish preparing everything. Because when she walked through that door, she wouldn't find the broken children she had left, nor the submissive mother-in-law she expected to manipulate. She would find a united, strong family, ready for battle. And I, the old retired teacher who, according to her, did nothing, was about to teach her the most important lesson of her life. Never, ever underestimate the power of true love over manipulation. The 10th day began with a revelation that changed everything. Chloe came to my room at 6 in the morning, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "Grandma, I need to tell you something. Something I haven't even told Dad." I sat up in bed and hugged her. "What's wrong, my girl?" "Mom. Mom has another phone, one that Dad doesn't know about. She hides it in her makeup bag. One day, I saw it by accident and..." She trailed off, trembling. "And what did you see?" "Photos. Lots of photos. Of her with Uncle Dominic. But also, there were documents. Papers from a bank in Miami. And something about a house she bought there." My heart stopped. "A house in Miami?" "Yes. And there was more. An email from a lawyer about custody. Mom wants to take us to live in Miami with Uncle Dominic. It said something about how the U.S. doesn't have an extradition treaty for civil cases or something like that." My God. Brooke wasn't just planning to leave Michael. She was planning to steal the children and disappear. "Is there anything else I should know?" Chloe hesitated, then pulled something from her pajamas. It was a USB drive. I copied everything. I don't know why I did it. Maybe because deep down, I knew that someday someone would need to see it. I hugged her tightly. My 10-year-old granddaughter had had to carry this secret alone, being braver than many adults. I plugged the USB into my old computer. What we found was devastating. Not only was there evidence of the house in Miami purchased in Dominic's name with money Brooke had been siphoning from their joint accounts for 2 years, but there was also a detailed plan. Phase 1. Convince M that I need a training trip to Miami. Phase 2. During my absence, Dominic will empty the house of anything valuable. Phase 3. Upon my return, I will provoke a fight with the old woman. I'll make it look like she mistreated the children. Phase 4. I'll use that to justify leaving with the children, for their safety. Phase 5. Once in Miami, there's no turning back. But the worst was in an audio file. It was Brooke talking to someone on the phone. "I don't care if the brats cry for their dad. They'll forget in 2 months. Besides, Michael is so pathetic he won't even fight. And if he does, I have edited videos that make it look like he hits Aiden. Technology works miracles, my friend." Chloe was crying. Was Mom going to say that Dad hit us? Your mom was willing to do anything to get her way. But Dad has never laid a hand on us. Never. I know, my love. That's why I've been recording everything since you arrived. To protect you and your dad. Just then, Aiden walked in. "What are you guys talking about?" Chloe told him everything. I saw the fury grow in my eldest grandson's eyes. "I'm going to kill her. I'm going to..." "No, Aiden. You're not going to do anything violent. That's exactly what she wants. A bad reaction to use against you. We're going to be smarter than her." "How?" "With the truth. And with the law on our side. I immediately called the lawyer I had contacted. When I explained the situation, he told me to come immediately with Michael. While we waited for Michael, who had gone to run some errands, Leo joined us in the living room. "Why is everyone sad?" "We're not sad, my love," I told him. "We're preparing." "For what?" "To protect our family." Leo thought for a moment. Then he said something that broke my heart. "Grandma, I know Mom doesn't love me. Once I heard her tell Uncle Dominic that I was a mistake, that if it weren't for me, she would already be free, 7 years old. My 7-year-old grandson had heard his own mother call him a mistake. Leo, look at me. You are not a mistake. You are a gift. And if your mother can't see that, it's her loss, not yours." "Then why did she have me?" Aiden answered before I could. "To trap Dad. Mom got pregnant with you right when Dad had asked for a divorce the first time." "Dad wanted a divorce before?" Chloe was surprised. 3 years ago, I heard them fighting. Dad had found out that Mom had spent Grandpa Richard's insurance money on a trip with her friends. But then Mom told him she was pregnant with Leo, and Dad stayed. I started connecting the dots. Richard's life insurance. I never knew how much it was, but Michael had told me he would save it for the children's education. Now I understood where it had gone. Michael arrived with a distraught look on his face. "Mom, I went to the bank. Brooke emptied our savings account yesterday. $38,000. Everything we had saved in 10 years. Sit down, son. There's more you need to know." I showed him everything. The documents, the audio files, the plan. With each piece of evidence, Michael seemed to age years. How could I have been so blind? "Dad," Aiden sat next to him. "It's not your fault. Mom is a very good liar. She fooled all of us. But I'm their father. I should have protected them." "You're protecting us now," Chloe said. "That's what matters." The lawyer arrived at noon. Mr. Martinez, a man in his 60s with the face of a bulldog but kind eyes. "With all this evidence, we can not only prevent her from taking the children, but also request a restraining order. Attempted parental kidnapping is a serious crime. Plus, the financial fraud. We're talking about jail time." "I don't want her to go to jail," Michael said. "I just want my kids to be safe." "Dad, she was going to accuse you of hitting us," Aiden reminded him. "She was going to destroy you. Still, I don't want her children to see their mother in prison." Martinez nodded. "I understand. We can negotiate. She gives up custody, returns the money, and there are no criminal charges. But we need to act fast." "What if she suspects something?" "She arrives in 4 days," I said. "Perfect. Enough time to prepare everything." After the lawyer left, we all sat in the living room, my little living room that had seen so much history. "Kids," Michael began, "I want you to know that no matter what happens with your mom, I will always be here. And so will your grandma." "Is Mom going to go to jail?" Leo asked. "We don't know. But she's going to have to face the consequences of her actions." "Are we going to see her again?" Chloe tried to sound indifferent, but it was her mother after all. "That will depend on her, and on what the judge decides is best for you." That night, as we ate the chili I had made with Chloe's help, Aiden said something that filled me with pride. "Grandma, thank you for not giving up, for fighting for us when we weren't even fighting for ourselves. I will always fight for you, always." "You know," Chloe added, "these have been the best days of my life. For the first time, I feel like I'm in a family." "Me too," Leo said with a mouthful of chili. "And Grandma's food isn't horrible. It's the best in the world." We laughed. For the first time in years, we laughed as a family. But while the children watched a movie in the living room, Michael and I had a more serious conversation in the kitchen. "Mom, I'm scared. What if Brooke becomes violent? What if she tries to take the kids by force?" "That's why we have the plan. The day she arrives, the children will be at Carol's house. The police will be alerted. The lawyer will be present. She won't be alone with them for a single minute. And what if the kids miss her later? What if they hate me for separating them from their mother? The children will miss the mother they never had, not the one they do have. And with therapy and love, they will heal. We will all heal." I looked at my grandchildren in the living room, cuddled on the sofa watching the movie. In 10 days, they had changed so much. They were no longer the little broken tyrants who had arrived. They were children. Just children who needed love and boundaries. There were 3 days left until Brooke's return. 3 days to finish legally protecting these children. Because what Brooke didn't know was that while she was enjoying herself in Miami, an army had risen here. An army of love, truth, and justice. And we were ready for war. The last 3 days before Brooke's return were the most intense and beautiful of my life. It was as if the universe had given us this time to build the foundation that should have existed from the beginning. The 11th day dawned rainy. While I was making breakfast, I found Aiden in the living room looking at a photo album I had rescued from the destruction of the first day. "That's Dad," he pointed to a photo where Michael was his age. Yes, he had just won the state math competition. Look at the pride on his face. He looks like me. No, my boy, you look like him. And not just physically. You have his intelligence, his nobility. You had just buried it under pain. Aiden turned the page. There I was, 35 years old, with my first group of students. "You looked happy, Grandma." I was happy. Teaching was my passion. Like cooking. Like loving you all. "Why did you let Mom push you away from us?" I sat next to him. "Out of cowardice. I thought that if I didn't make waves, one day she would change. But abusers don't change with submission. They get stronger." "Grandma, do you think I'm like Mom?" "Sometimes I feel so much rage inside." "Rage doesn't make you bad, Aiden. What you do with it is what defines who you are. Your mother uses her rage to harm. You can use it to protect, to build, to change what is wrong." That morning we did something special. I taught them how to make my mother's chili. 32 ingredients, 4 hours of preparation. A ritual I had waited years to share with them. "Why is it so complicated?" Chloe asked as we ground the spices. "The best things in life require time, patience, and love. There are no shortcuts for what is truly worthwhile." Leo was in charge of toasting the spices. His little face of concentration was pure poetry. "It smells like Christmas," he said. "It smells like tradition," I corrected. "Like history. My great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, made this chili. She survived the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and now it lives on in us. Are we history?" Leo seemed amazed by the idea. "We are living history, my love. Each of us carries the stories of those who came before." While we cooked, Michael worked at the dining room table with the lawyer, signing documents, preparing the legal strategy. From time to time, he would look at us with a sad smile. "Dad seems different," Chloe observed. "Your dad is waking up from a very long dream," I explained. "It hurts to wake up, but it's necessary." That afternoon, Dr. Wallace came for a special family session. "I want each of you to write a letter to Brooke. Not to send it, but to get out what you're carrying inside." Aiden wrote 3 pages of fury. Chloe, 1 page of questions. Leo drew his mother as a monster with suitcases instead of hands. Michael wrote only 1 line. "I forgive you, but I will not allow you to cause any more harm." I wrote, "I failed as a mother-in-law by not stopping you sooner. I will not fail as a grandmother." "Now," the doctor said, "I want you to burn them. Let go of the pain." In the backyard, under the light rain, we burned the letters in a clay pot. As the paper turned to ash, Leo asked, "Are we free now?" "Now we begin to be free," the doctor replied. The 12th day was for practical preparation. Carol came with her sister Lauren from CPS. "The day Brooke arrives, the children will be at my house," Carol explained. "It's better they don't witness the initial confrontation." "But I want to see Mom's face when she realizes we know everything," Aiden protested. "No, my love," I intervened. "Revenge is not our goal. Protection is." Lauren reviewed all the documents. "With this, we can request emergency custody for Michael. Brooke won't be able to get near the children without judicial supervision." "What if she comes with that Dominic guy?" Michael asked. "We'll have a patrol car nearby. Any sign of violence and they'll intervene." That night, while the children were sleeping, I found Michael in the garden looking at the stars. "What are you thinking about, son?" "About Dad. Do you think he would be disappointed in me?" "Your father would be proud that you are finally doing the right thing. It took me a long time, but you got there. That's what counts." "Mom, How did you manage to raise a son alone? How did you find the strength? I didn't find it. I built it. Day by day, decision by decision, just like you are building it now. On the 13th day, the last day before Brooke's return, we decided to do something special, a real family day. We went to the park where I used to take Michael when he was a boy. The children ran, played, got dirty. For the first time in years, I saw them just being kids. Grandma, look. Leo had climbed the tallest tree. I can see the whole city. Be careful, I shouted, but Michael stopped me. Let him, Mom. He needs to feel brave. Chloe and I sat on a bench eating corn on the cob. Grandma, when Mom comes back, is all of this going to end? No, my girl. This is just beginning. What's going to end is the fear, the manipulation, the lies. What if Mom cries? Whenever she cries, Dad forgives her for everything. Not this time. This time your dad has something stronger than your mom's manipulation. What? The truth. And you all to protect. Aiden approached us with cotton candy for everyone. I spent my allowance, but it was worth it. That's my grandson. Learning that giving is worth more than receiving. At sunset, we returned home. The children were exhausted but happy. While I was making dinner, I heard them talking in the living room. Do you remember when Mom used to bring us here? Leo asked. Mom never brought us here, Aiden replied. Mom never took us anywhere that wasn't the mall. But Grandma did, Chloe said. In just 13 days, Grandma has given us more than Mom has in years. My heart swelled with love and sadness at the same time. During dinner, Michael made an announcement. Tomorrow is going to be a difficult day, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, we are a family. And real families protect each other. Is Mom not family? Leo asked, confused. Mom is your biological mother. But family? Family is who is here when things get tough. Family is who loves you unconditionally. Then Grandma is more family than Mom, Leo concluded with the simple logic of children. That night, as I tucked them in, each one said something I will cherish in my heart forever. Aiden, Grandma, thank you for not giving up on me, even though I was horrible to you. Chloe, Grandma, I want to be like you when I grow up. Strong and brave. Leo, Grandma, can I call you Mama Helen? I already have a mom, but I need a real mom. I couldn't hold back the tears. You can call me whatever you want, my loves. I will always be your grandma who loves you. Michael and I stayed in the kitchen late, going over the plan for the next day. At 10 in the morning, I take the kids to Carol's house. At 11, the lawyer comes. At 11:30, the patrol car will be on the corner. Brooke said she arrives at noon, and we will be ready. Before sleeping, I looked at the photos of these 13 days I had taken with my old phone. The transformation was impressive. From 3 broken and hostile children to 3 children healing, laughing, being a family. Tomorrow, Brooke would return expecting to find her submissive mother-in-law and her emotionally abandoned children. Instead, she would find the consequences of her actions. She would find that true love is always stronger than manipulation. She would find that the family she had despised had become an impenetrable wall protecting the children she had used as weapons. And I, the old retired teacher, was ready to teach the final lesson, the most important one, the definitive one. It was 11:58 in the morning. Michael and I were sitting in the living room with Mr. Martinez beside us. The documents were on the coffee table like soldiers ready for battle. My phone showed a message from Carol. The kids are fine. Playing in the yard, they don't suspect a thing. At 12:03, we heard the engine of Brooke's SUV. My heart was beating so hard I was sure Michael could hear it. Calm down, Mom, he said, taking my hand. She has no power over us anymore. The door opened without a knock. Classic Brooke, walking in as if she owned the place. She was tan, wearing a new dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension, and dragging a Louis Vuitton suitcase. Ugh, it's so hot, she exclaimed, without even looking at us. Michael, what are you doing here? You should be at work. Where are the kids? I hope you haven't spoiled them, Helen. It's hard enough for me to. She stopped when she saw the lawyer. Who is this? Brooke. Michael stood up. His voice was firm, nothing like the exhausted man who had arrived 13 days ago. We need to talk. Talk about what? I'm tired from the trip. The kids and I are going home. The kids aren't here, I said calmly. And they're not going anywhere with you. Her face changed. The mask of sweetness cracked a little. Excuse me? Michael, what does this mean? Mr. Martinez cleared his throat. Mrs. Miller, I'm Mr. Martinez. I represent Mr. Miller in the divorce and emergency custody proceedings he has initiated. Divorce? She let out a nervous laugh. Michael, honey, what did your mother do to you now? You know she's old and makes things up. No, Brooke. Michael took out his phone and played an audio file. It was her own voice. The brats get in my way. As soon as I can, I'll get rid of them. Michael is such an idiot, he won't even notice. The color drained from Brooke's face. That's edited. It's illegal to record someone without their consent. It's also illegal, the lawyer interjected, to open credit cards in your husband's name without his knowledge. $30,000 in debt, ma'am. I don't know what you're talking about. Michael placed the bank statements on the table. 3 cards, Brooke, all documented. We also have, I continued, evidence of the house in Miami. The one you bought with Dominic, using the money you stole from the savings account. I didn't steal anything. It's joint money, which you emptied without your husband's consent to buy a property in your lover's name, the lawyer specified. That's marital fraud. Brooke looked at me with pure hatred. This is all your fault, you meddling old woman. You always wanted to separate me from Michael. No, Brooke. You separated yourself. I just documented your crimes. Crimes? Please. What are you going to do? Sue me for being unhappy in my marriage? No, said Martinez, pulling out another document. For attempted international parental kidnapping, we have your complete plan to take the children to Miami without paternal consent. Brooke staggered. She had to grab the back of the sofa. The children are mine. I gave birth to them. Children are not property, I replied. And after 13 days with me, they made a decision. What did you do to them? Did you brainwash them? This is parental alienation. Michael laughed bitterly. Parental alienation? Seriously? The woman who told our children their grandmother was a dirty, poor old woman is talking about alienation? I want to see my children. Now. No. Michael's voice was pure steel. First, we're going to establish the rules. Martinez opened his briefcase. Ma'am, you have 2 options. First, you accept the divorce, waive custody, return the stolen money, and leave without making a scene. In return, we don't press criminal charges. And the second, we fight in court. With the evidence we have, you will not only lose the children, but you will also face charges for fraud, attempted kidnapping, and psychological abuse. 3 to 5 years in prison. Brooke collapsed onto the sofa. For the first time since I'd known her, I saw her without a mask. And what I saw was pathetic. An empty woman who had built her life on lies. You can't do this to me. I have rights. The children also have rights, I said. The right not to be manipulated, used, and emotionally abandoned. I never abandoned them. Oh no. How many trips have you taken this year, Brooke? 18. We have it documented. 18 times you left your children to be with Dominic. That's a lie. I took out my phone and showed the Facebook photos. Her and Dominic on every trip, while her children were left with a neighbor, with anyone but their father or grandmother. The children know everything, Brooke. They know about Uncle Dominic. They know he sleeps in their father's bed when he's not there. They know you call them brats. They know you were planning to take them to Miami. I want to talk to them. Not until you sign the papers, Michael said. Brooke took out her phone. I'm going to call Dominic. He's a lawyer. He'll defend me. Go ahead, said Martinez. But I should inform you that Dominic has already been notified that he is implicated in a fraud case. I doubt he wants to dig himself in deeper. She dialed. Once, twice, 3 times. Dominic didn't answer. He abandoned me, she whispered. The bastard abandoned me. Like you abandoned your family, I said. She jumped up. This isn't over. I will get my children back. I will. Mom? We all turned. Chloe was at the door. She had snuck away from Carol's house. My love. Brooke ran towards her, but Chloe stepped back. Don't touch me. Chloe, my baby. What did they do to you? What did this old woman tell you? Grandma didn't tell me anything. You said it all. In your messages with Uncle Dominic. In your lies. In every time you left us. I was working to give you a better life. No. You were traveling with your lover while we thought we were orphans with living parents. Aiden and Leo appeared behind their sister. Carol came running after them. I'm sorry, Helen. They snuck out when I wasn't looking. It's okay, I said. Maybe they needed to do this. Brooke tried to approach Aiden. Son, my love, your sister is confused. No, Mom. You're the one who's confused if you think we're going back with you. I am your mother. A mother doesn't call her son a mistake, Leo said in his little voice. I heard you. You told Uncle Dominic that I was a mistake. Brooke turned pale. No, I didn't. You're making that up. A mother doesn't steal her children's college money, Aiden added. A mother doesn't use us as an excuse for her lies, Chloe continued. A mother protects us, the three said in unison. Like Grandma does. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the ticking of the wall clock, the hum of the refrigerator, even Brooke's ragged breathing. You're going to pay for this, Helen, she finally hissed. You don't know who you're messing with. I know exactly who I'm messing with. A narcissist who mistook kindness for weakness. But it's over, Brooke. Sign the papers and go. And if I don't want to, Michael stood up. Then we'll see you in court. And believe me, with what we have, you won't just lose the children, you'll lose everything. Brooke looked at her children one last time. For a moment, it seemed like she was going to cry. But narcissists don't cry for others, only for themselves. She grabbed the papers, signed them furiously, and threw them on the table. I hope you're happy. You've just taken a mother away from these children. No, Leo replied with a maturity beyond his 7 years. We just gained a family. Brooke stormed out, slamming the door. The engine of her SUV roared and faded away, taking 10 years of toxicity with it. The children ran to hug their father. The 4 of them cried, wrapped in an embrace, while I went to make chamomile tea for everyone. Is she gone for good? Chloe asked. I don't know, Michael answered honestly. But if she comes back, it will be on our terms. And if she doesn't come back? Leo's voice trembled. I sat with them on the floor, something I hadn't done in years. If she doesn't come back, we will move on. Because you don't beg for love, my children. Love is given freely, or it isn't love. Aiden looked at me. Grandma, are you okay? I'm better than okay, my boy. For the first time in 10 years, this family is free. That night, as we ate the chili we had prepared days before, Michael raised his glass of iced tea. To Mom. To the woman who saved us all. To Grandma, the children shouted. But I raised my glass for something else. To the truth. Because in the end, the truth always wins. And as I looked at my family, my real family, gathered around my humble table, I knew that all the pain had been worth it. The teacher had taught her last and most important lesson. It's never too late to stand up for what you love. 3 weeks had passed since Brooke slammed the door. 3 weeks of peace that were shattered one Thursday afternoon when she showed up unannounced. But this time she wasn't alone. I was in the garden with the children, teaching them how to plant tomatoes, when we heard voices at the entrance. I demand to see my children. I have a court order. Michael had gone to work. We were alone. But I was no longer the same helpless woman from before. Kids, go inside the house. Now. But Grandma? Aiden began. Now. They obeyed. From the window, 3 scared little faces watched. At the entrance stood Brooke, a man I assumed was Dominic, and a woman with a folder. Mrs. Miller, the woman introduced herself. I'm from social services. We received a report of child abuse and neglect against you. Of course. Brooke's counterattack. Perfect, I replied calmly. Come in. Check whatever you like. Brooke smiled maliciously. I also reported that my husband is an alcoholic and violent, and that you cover for him. Dominic added. We have witnesses who will confirm everything. Witnesses? I laughed. How much did you pay them? The social worker, a young woman named Patricia, seemed uncomfortable. Ma'am, I need to speak with the children alone. Of course. But first, can I show you something? I took out my phone and played a video. It was from day 3, when the children destroyed my living room. It clearly showed me remaining calm while they acted violently. This is what Brooke calls abuse, not responding to violence with violence. Patricia watched intently. The children did that? Ask them. And ask them why they did it. That doesn't prove anything, Brooke shouted. This old woman has them threatened. At that moment, Michael arrived. He had left work early. Behind him were Mr. Martinez and, to my surprise, Lauren from Child Protective Services. Patricia? Lauren greeted her colleague. What are you doing here? We received a report. Yes, we were notified. That's why I came. This family has been under my supervision for 3 weeks. I have a complete file. Lauren pulled out a thick folder. Psychological evaluations of the children, therapy reports, evidence of emotional neglect by the mother, attempted international kidnapping. That's false. Brooke was losing control. We also have this. Michael took out his phone. Recordings of Brooke admitting the reports are false. He pressed play. It was a conversation between Brooke and Dominic from that very morning, recorded because Dominic, trying to save himself, had started recording everything. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, Brooke's voice said. I just need CPS to believe me to get the brats back. With them in my possession, Michael will give me whatever I want. Dominic turned pale. You told me you didn't know I was recording. You imbecile. Brooke slapped him across the face. Patricia, the social worker, was speechless. Mrs. Miller, this is very serious. Filing false reports is a crime. I want to talk to my children. Talk to them, I said. But from here. Kids, you can come out. The 3 of them came out holding hands. They stood 10 feet from their mother. Tell this woman the truth, Brooke ordered. Tell her how your grandmother abuses you. Grandma taught us how to cook, Leo said. Grandma listens to us, Chloe added. Grandma loves us, Aiden concluded. You just use us. She brainwashed you. It's parental alienation. Lauren intervened. Mrs. Miller, in my 20 years of experience, I have never seen such a clear case of projection. You accuse others of exactly what you do. I have something else to show, I said. I went into the house and came out with a box. These are all the cards, drawings, and letters the children have made for me over the years that you threw in the trash. I rescued them from the can when I came to visit. Look at the dates. Patricia reviewed the contents. There were dozens of discarded expressions of childhood love. For my grandma that I can't see, she read from a letter from Chloe from 2 years ago. I miss you, but Mom says you're busy. There's also this. Michael pulled out an envelope. The results from the private investigator I hired. Brooke has been living a double life. Not just with Dominic. She has profiles on 3 dating apps, all active. Dominic exploded. What? You told me I was the only one. Shut up, you idiot. Brooke was cornered. Patricia closed her folder. I've seen enough. Not only is there no evidence of abuse by Mrs. Helen Miller or Mr. Miller, but there is clear evidence of manipulation and false reports by Mrs. Brooke Miller. Furthermore, Lauren added, I am going to recommend that the mother's visits be supervised and that the children continue therapy. You can't do this. Yes, we can, said Martinez. And there's more. Mrs. Miller, you are being sued for fraud. The banks have already been notified of the fraudulent credit cards. Brooke looked at me with a hatred that could melt steel. This is all your fault. No, Brooke. I only brought to light what you did in the darkness. It was then that Dominic spoke. I'm leaving. Brooke, you lose. I'm not going down with you. You can't leave me. You promised we would be together. You promised you were rich, that the house in Miami was yours. It was all a lie. Dominic left, leaving Brooke alone in the yard. For the first time, I saw her as she truly was, an empty woman who had gambled everything on lies and lost. You have 5 minutes to leave, Michael said, or I'm calling the police. Brooke approached the children one last time. Someday you will understand what you did to me, and you will regret it. No, Aiden replied with surprising maturity. Someday, maybe you will understand what you did to us, and I hope you regret it. Brooke left. This time she didn't slam the door. She left defeated, empty, alone. That night, as we ate dinner, Chloe asked, "Do you think Mom will ever change?" "I don't know, my love," Michael replied. "But that's not our problem anymore." "Do you hate her?" Leo asked. I thought carefully before answering. "I don't hate her, I pity her." Imagine living your whole life without being able to truly love, without knowing real happiness. That is her prison, one she built herself. 6 months later, it was Saturday morning, and my house was filled with laughter, not just from my grandchildren, but from 6 other children from the neighborhood. My living room, the same one that was once destroyed in a fit of rage, was now a small art workshop. "Grandma Helen, look at my painting." A little 5-year-old girl showed me her work, a smiling sun over a house. After the scandal with Brooke, the story got out in the neighborhood. But instead of negative gossip, I received support. And when I mentioned that I missed teaching, the moms started asking if I would give private lessons. Now I had Helen's Art House, classes in painting, crafts, and traditional cooking for children. I charged a fair price, $20 per class. But the real payment was seeing those happy little faces. "Mom," Michael came in with coffee and cookies for everyone. He had changed so much. The exhausted and defeated man now smiled. He had gained a healthy amount of weight, and his eyes sparkled. "How's the class going?" "Perfect." Like everything lately. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago. Brooke didn't fight anymore, especially after the bank sued her and she had to declare bankruptcy. The last we heard was through Chloe, who saw on Facebook that she was working as a caregiver for the elderly in another state. "The irony is delicious," Aiden had commented when we found out. "Now she has to take care of old people for $20 an hour." "Don't make fun," I scolded them. "Honest work is dignified. Maybe it will help her find herself." The children had blossomed. Aiden was on the honor roll. Chloe had joined the volleyball team, and Leo had discovered a natural talent for music. My old piano finally had someone to play it. "Grandma," Leo approached me during the class break. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, my love. Do you ever miss the mom she was before?" "Before what?" "Before she turned bad." I sat with him in the garden, the same one where everything had exploded months ago. "Leo, your mom didn't turn bad. She always had that seed inside her. What happens is that some people choose to water the wrong seeds. She chose to water greed, lies, selfishness. And what seeds do we have? You have the seeds of love, honesty, bravery. And every day you spend here, with your dad, with me, those seeds grow stronger." That afternoon, after all the children had gone home, my family stayed for the Saturday dinner that was now a tradition. Michael cooked. He had discovered he had a talent. The kids set the table, and I enjoyed watching them. "I have some news," Michael announced during dessert. "I got promoted. Production manager. With the raise, I can pay off all the debts Brooke left in a year." "Dad, that's incredible," Chloe shouted. "And there's more. I was thinking, Mom, what if we expand your little school? We could build a proper classroom in the backyard." "Michael, that's not necessary." "Yes, it is. You saved my life, Mom, mine and my children's. It's the least I can do." Aiden stood up. "I have something to say, too. I wrote an essay for the school's writing contest. It's about Grandma." He cleared his throat and read, "My hero doesn't wear a cape or fly. My hero is 67 years old, has wrinkled hands from working so hard, and the biggest heart in the world. My hero is my grandmother, who taught me that true love isn't bought with expensive gifts or lavish trips. It's built with patience, with boundaries, with presence. My grandmother saved me from becoming a monster. She taught me that family isn't just blood, it's a choice. And I choose my grandmother, today and always." I couldn't hold back the tears. Neither could Michael. Even Chloe, who acted tough, cried. "I wrote something too," Chloe said. "But it's a poem. Once there was a girl so lost, in a world of lies and frost. A grandma came with love so true, and showed her a path, fresh and new. Now the girl is lost no more, for she found love at her grandma's door." Leo didn't want to be left out. "I didn't write anything, but I made you this." He pulled out a drawing. It was all of us in front of the house, holding hands. Above it, He had written in his child's handwriting, "My real family." That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Michael and the kids stayed on weekends. I went out to the garden. The full moon illuminated my tomato plants, which were already beginning to bear fruit. I thought of Richard, my husband. I did it, my love. I raised our son. And now I'm raising our grandchildren. Not how we imagined, but I'm doing it. I thought of Brooke, alone somewhere, taking care of the elderly for pennies. I hope you find peace, I whispered to the wind. I hope one day you understand that love isn't manipulated, it's cultivated. And I thought of myself, the retired teacher who didn't do anything anymore. I smiled. I had never done so much. I had never been so useful. I had never been so happy. The following Monday, while preparing for the next art class, I received an unexpected call. "Mrs. Miller? This is the principal of Lincoln Elementary. We heard about your art school. We were wondering if you'd be interested in giving workshops here as well. Paid, of course." Life was giving me back everything I had sown, with interest. But the best reward came a month later. It was Mother's Day. I didn't expect anything. I had never been celebrated much on that day. That morning the children woke me up with breakfast in bed. "Happy Mother's Day, Mama Helen," the three of them shouted. "But I'm your grandmother." "You're more than that," Michael said from the doorway. "You're the mother we all needed." They handed me an envelope. Inside were legal papers. "What is this?" "The children want you to be their legal guardian as well," Michael explained. "In case something happens to me, they want to make sure they stay with you, not with Brooke." "It was our idea," Aiden clarified with pride. I cried. I cried like I hadn't cried since Richard died. But these were tears of pure joy. As we all ate breakfast together on my bed, which nearly broke from the weight, Leo asked, "Grandma, are you happy?" I looked around. My son, recovered. My grandchildren, healing. My house, full of life and purpose. "I'm more than happy, my love. I am whole." And it was true. Because in the end, it wasn't Brooke who lost. It was us who won. We won freedom. We won peace. We won true love. The teacher had taught her final lesson, but the learning would continue forever. Because that's what family is. A classroom where we never stop learning how to love. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that it's never too late to stand up for what you love, if it inspired you to set healthy boundaries, share it. Leave a comment telling us where you're reading from. Sometimes, the grandmothers who seem to do nothing are the ones holding the whole world together. And remember, respect isn't begged for, it's earned. And when someone doesn't offer it, it's time to demand it. Subscribe for more real-life stories, where true love always finds a way to win.